Tell us what inspired Soulful Restoration from the name to the concept and also why a podcast?
Whew. Okay, let's start with the name or maybe the podcast. I don't know. Let's go. The reason for the podcast is I wanted a place where I can store, rather we can store because it's a team effort, but mostly where I can store information, right, and knowledge and share ideas and different walks of life. I think life is very poetic. And some of the questions we also grapple with as people, someone else has already solved that puzzle. So if we can just get together and just have a place to put all of that and have honest conversation. That was the first part. That was the main reason. The second is I feel, and this is where the name comes on, I feel like as a Black people, specifically South African Black people, because that's where I'm from, we are a broken society, right? We carry a lot of trauma. We carry a lot of baggage in general, right? And I think it's time for us to face the beast, right? To call a spade, and stop sugarcoating it and trying to find excuses for our behavior as a people. And I believe we are only as strong as our weakest link. So this for me became a restorative journey to say we were once great people and we are still descendants of those great people. How then do we get back to that status? Right? It's not to say we're going to all of a sudden happen overnight, but I think we have focused a lot on the material stuff, right? Getting money and nice things, which we want. But I think we have lagged behind in schooling one another on how our souls function. So from a spiritual perspective, I think we are lacking. And I think until we've broken that seal, we won't see the freedom we so want. So this is also, for me, a place to spark that conversation. To say we can change, we can be better. This thing of saying, because they don't deserve it. Black people can't. No, it's because it's not that we can't or we're not deserving. We're just not equipped to maintain, right? And us wanting better for ourselves is all good and well. But once we do get it, or somebody else gets it, right? That's also the test of time for us, where we want a certain type of leader, we want certain type of our people taking certain spaces. But once that happens, then we're the first to rebel against them. That says to me, we lack the idea of Black progression, but we don't yet have the character to sustain it. And that's what I would like us to start doing through this platform. And that's why Soulful Restoration. Yes, ma'am. Have I answered your question?
Yes, absolutely. So there's a lot of vulnerability, just like at a glance, looking at the name of the podcast and the subject matter and the themes. There is a lot of vulnerability, and your insights have context, right? They come from somewhere. So how much of the podcast is a reflection of you, and how much of it is insights of either learning from personal experience or from others? Is there a ratio or a balance? Because you're sort of like a conduit of this process of restoration with this platform. So how much of it is you, and how much of it is healing you? How much of it is others? Is there a balance? Is there a ratio that you use, or is it just what it is?
Vibes. Vibes. Listen, if I had it my way, I wouldn't be on this platform. Because I like to be in my own corner, right?
You do.
I like to be in my corner somewhere under a rock.
Yes.
Okay.
That's on 10 years of friendship, guys.
That's unfair. But the call needs this platform. Like the calling is for this platform to exist and for me to come out of here. And so I can't put a ratio to say, this is me, this is people, this is what. But I can say I've had the privilege of walking alongside a lot of people, like walking beside them in their life journeys. I've lived colorful life. Not the dodgy type, not the dodgy type, but I've lived a colorful life. I've also been a student of life, and I would say some masters of life who have come before me. So I think this is all like a little mashup, a poiki course of all of those experiences. I've counseled, I've been counseled, I've loved, I've been loved, I've been ridiculed, I've been hated, I've been, all of those things. I've been a friend, I've been a sister, I've been a daughter, all of those things. I've been a mentor to some, an elder to others, which we'll probably discuss in this podcast. But all of those experiences, all of those learnings, all of those teachings, and also all of the nagging. My friends have been nagging. Please get this very well. They've been nagging to say this is the time. So shout out, including the co-producer on the other side of this mic. Those have brought this to life, and I hope that the same spirit and grace that brought us to this starting line will see us through.
Okay, let's talk about the conceptualization and creative process. What's your favorite part so far of the podcast and the process? Because it's been back and forth content-wise and just like conceptualizing, which has been amazing. But what is like your favorite part so far in terms of the making of Soulful Restoration?
My favorite part of making Soulful Restoration is getting the content done. Okay, that part, favorite. Okay, the script, the topics, 100%. Anytime. But the logistics and the cameras, it's not my worst part, but it's definitely an adjustment. Yeah.
Okay. What can we look forward to? I mean, I think we have a peep as to what is to come, the theme, the content outline, and also soulful takeaway, which tells us what we can take away. But what are really those three things, those three words that you want us to take away soulfully so?
Wild. 3 words. Damn. Never thought of that. Okay, what I would like. Can I make them sentences?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So what I would like us to get out of this podcast, and for people, okay, all of us as you guys will figure this out as we go. I use we and us a lot because, first of all, courage. All right, that's my thing. A lot of life in general requires courage from us, even in the small things. So I'd like us to be more courageous / brave, right? In confronting ourselves, in showing up. So definitely courageous. I'd like us to love more. To love more and to be open to receiving love. Because loving and being loved serve different purposes, right? And once you are able to give it and receive it, you can see and act on the difference. And then the last one, I'd like us to be truthful. I'd like us to be truthful to ourselves first and then to one another. When you're sitting on the toilet seat by yourself, okay, be honest to yourself. I think in those moments of solitude and being quiet, I would like us to be honest with ourselves. Because what we are honest about in ourselves what we are honest about is what we start to believe. So we believe the things we tell ourselves. And if the stories we tell ourselves are honest, then our behavior will align, right? So that's what I believe. I think for us, in my experience, our behavior is always consistent with our belief. So, yeah.
So we were having a conversation behind the scenes about conduits and their role in our lives. So how do you plan to, or are you already? Because you are a conduit. I know you're going to say no. I knew it. That's why I asked this question. I knew you were going to say no. But how do you remove yourself from the content, but also be the content. Because technically you're the content, but you also have to remove yourself because you are carrying us with you. I like how you say us and we because you are carrying us with you, whether it's behind the scenes or the audiences. So, how do you plan to? I don't want to say offload, but you are the content. But at some point, there's a level of impartiality where you have to remove yourself from it. So, what's your strategy or maybe your tactics about that? Is it something you have seen as a concern, or you plan to do? How do you? You are within, but you're also outside. Yes.
I think I've always been, and I still am, a teacher. So that's the angle from which I come to the podcast with. I want to teach something to someone, right, in some method or form. Beyond that, I just want you to feel like I'm reaching out my hand to grab yours. Just want to hold your hand. And I think that makes it personal. It has to be a personal encounter between me and you. I think when you hear something from the podcast that I say that you resonate with, or a truth that sets you free, that will be our souls meeting and shaking hands. And that is my sole purpose with this podcast. Did I answer your question?
Yes. I think we're good on my side. Thank you guys for bearing with me.
Thank you, everybody. Join us every second Thursday, okay, at 3 p.m. on the Soulful Restoration.